The stars shimmered coldly over the uncharted system of Rylara 9. Fleets of the Xylar Dominion moved like shadows across the void, their warships glinting with deadly precision. Every vessel carried hundreds of alien warriors, each bred for war, each trained to crush anything that opposed them. They had one goal: annihilate the human presence in the sector. The Xylar generals had heard rumors, hushed whispers from their spies and scouts, of Earth's warriors, of Terran cunning, of human audacity, but they had laughed at it. One human against their forces was nothing. One human could be ignored. Inside the largest of the human outposts in the system, Lieutenant Mara Kale watched the hologrid flicker. Hundreds of Xylar warships had moved into attack formation just beyond the nebula. Her hands tightened around the rail of the observation deck. "Lieutenant," her commanding officer Admiral Roan said, voice low, "they have us surrounded. No reinforcements will arrive for weeks. Our fleet is small. Mara turned, eyes blazing. We are human. That's all we need. Send the coordinates to the fleet. Tell them to watch closely. It will be a lesson they never forget." Roan hesitated. This was reckless, impossible. A single human vessel could not hope to face even a fraction of the Xylar armada. Yet there was that look in Mara's eyes, the same look that had carried her through every impossible mission, every mission where other humans would have cowered. "Understood," Roan said. Aboard the flagship Valor's Edge, Mara prepared her ship for departure. The vessel was a sleek, solitary fighter. Only a single pilot could command it. But within it was every innovation humanity had perfected over decades: stealth field generators, adaptive plasma cannons, and a hull strong enough to survive impacts that would crumble alien capital ships. She took a deep breath. One human against hundreds. And yet, in her heart, she carried the pride of every soldier who had ever fought for Earth. She carried the hope of her species, and she carried something else: a quiet, unwavering belief that victory was already theirs. The Xylar fleet detected her vessel instantly. Sensors screamed across the network. Unauthorized craft detected. Engage. A dozen ships pivoted, their weapons trained. The human fighter's single pulse engine flared. Mara accelerated through the void, weaving in impossible arcs, her small silhouette darting through the massive hulls of the enemy. Lasers lanced out, plasma bolts streaked, and the void seemed to explode with deadly energy. Yet Mara's ship was faster, smarter, almost alive. Every move she made was calculated, precise, almost instinctive. Every evasive maneuver was a step closer to her goal. "Why is it doing this?" barked Admiral Xylax, the Xylar commander. His mandibles clicked in anger. "A single human ship cannot destroy us." And yet, it was doing exactly that. Mara weaved past the lead cruiser, firing adaptive plasma shots that tore through shield arrays and sliced through hulls like paper. One by one, Xylar warships erupted in blinding fire. Explosions bloomed against the backdrop of stars, and for the first time the alien commanders felt doubt. But Mara was not done. She knew their battle tactics. She knew their pride, their arrogance. The Xylar believed in overwhelming numbers, in crushing force. They did not understand humans. They did not understand that one human with courage and intelligence could outthink 100. Her ship dove into the heart of the fleet, slipping between massive cruisers like a shadow. She triggered the stealth field, disappearing from sensors entirely. The Xylar ship screamed in confusion as Mara reappeared behind their command flagship, plasma cannons flaring. The flagship erupted in a cascade of fire, its destruction sending shockwaves across the fleet. Back on the observation deck of the human outpost, Admiral Roan whispered, almost to himself, "One human, and victory is already ours." The Xylar fleet faltered. Their formations collapsed in confusion and panic. Ships collided, fired at each other, or fled into the dark nebula for cover. The singular human presence had broken their morale. Inside Mara's cockpit, she felt the weight of the moment. Every life she saved, every enemy ship she disabled, was proof of something humans had known for centuries. Courage mattered. Ingenuity mattered. Heart mattered. Yet her victory was not without cost. Her ship's shields were failing, hull breaches warning of imminent destruction. Mara gritted her teeth, ignoring the alarms. She had one final task. The Xylar flagship had to fall. One shot precisely calculated aimed at the reactor core. Time seemed to stretch, the void holding its breath. Mara fired. The explosion was instantaneous. The flagship shattered, a blinding light consuming the dark space. Every nearby ship rocked violently, systems failing. The Xylar fleet fractured entirely, fleeing in terror, leaving the human outpost untouched. When Mara returned, the outpost erupted in cheers. Her small ship had returned intact, though battered. She stepped onto the deck, helmet under her arm, and looked at the faces of her fellow humans. They were exhausted, terrified, proud. And in that moment, every doubt vanished. Admiral Roan approached, bowing slightly. "You did what no one believed possible." Mara shook her head. "We did it. One human may have stepped into battle, but it was every human who made victory possible. Courage is contagious, and now they know." She gestured to the stars beyond the observation deck. "They know not to underestimate humanity." Across the galaxy, the story spread. The Xylar Dominion, once feared for its might, now whispered the name of the human pilot who had shattered their armada. Other civilizations began to look at humanity differently, not just as survivors, but as warriors, thinkers, and a species capable of miracles against impossible odds. Even as Mara sat alone in her quarters that night, staring out at the cold, twinkling lights of distant stars, she felt the weight of the future on her shoulders. Humans had proven themselves. One step into battle had changed the course of an entire war. And she knew, deep in her soul, that this was only the beginning. The following months were a whirlwind. The Xylar never returned. Other species, once dismissive of humanity, began to offer alliances, wary respect in their communications. Earth became a symbol of hope and defiance. And Mara Kyle, the single human who had faced impossible odds, became a legend, not just for her victory, but for the truth she had proven. Humanity's strength was never in numbers alone, but in heart, in courage, and in the audacity to stand against overwhelming darkness. In classrooms across the galaxy, children studied her tactics. In fleet training centers, cadets learned how one mind could outmaneuver 1,000 enemies. And in quiet moments, humans everywhere felt the same quiet pride. They were capable of anything. And it had all begun with one human, stepping into battle when victory was already theirs, because humanity never truly counted odds. They counted on courage. They counted on spirit. And they counted on the fact that the galaxy would one day understand that nothing, absolutely nothing, could match the heart of a human being.